Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be having a look at some frequency tables and then some cumulative frequency. So I've got a question here for us to do, and it just says 15 soccer players recorded the number of goals they kicked in a season. Arrange the data into a frequency table and show the cumulative frequencies as fractions. So pre-prepared I have come and I've brought this frequency table here. It's got an age. I don't know why it says age. I'll get rid of that. So it should say goals, and then it's got a tally column, a frequency column, and a cumulative frequency column. So up here we've got our goals scored, and we've got 6, 10 goals, 15, 20 goals, 22, 8, 9, 6, 7, 5, 4, 4, 2, 11, and 13. So this is what all the players kicked. So with a frequency table, what we want to do is we want to take our data and just place it into the table so that we match it up, basically our data, with these little, what we call brackets or buckets on the side. So if we go through and do this now, our first bracket is here, and it's for 0 to less than 5 goals scored in a season. So if we have 5, someone's kicked 5 goals in the season, that won't go in this bucket because this bucket is to less than 5. So we've got 6, 10, 15, 20, so none of these so far, 8, 9, 6, 7, and remember 5's not included because this is 0 to less than 5. We've got 4 here, so that would be included, we'd put a tally there, 4 here, and 2 would definitely be included, and then we've got 11 and 13. So our tally would be 3, and our frequency would be 3, because for our frequency we just calculate the tally, or count the tally, sorry. So for our next bucket we want to work out whether they kicked either 5 to less than 10 goals. So we go through our data, we just count. So 6 would definitely be in there, because it's greater than 5 but less than 10. It's greater than or equal to 5 but less than 10. 8, yep, that would be in there. 9, yep. 6, 7, and 5 would also be in there. So we'd count these up and we'd say we'd have 5 and 1 is 6 for between equal to 5 or less than 10. For our next bucket, we just go through again, do the exact same counting process. So 10, yep, because it's equal to 10, and then 11 and 13, so we would have 3. For our next, we're concerned with goals which are equal to 15 and less than 20, between that range. So if 15 would be included in this bucket. So we go through and we find we do have a 15, put that in, and we've got nothing else, so no others would go in here, so we have a frequency of 1, just count up our tally. And the next one is we're concerned with goals greater than or equal to 20. So we just go through our data again, and we've got no, 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 yep, and 22. So we would have a frequency of 2. And that's how we work out our frequency. So if we want to just do a quick check, we can take a total. So we just write total down here, and then all we do is we add up down this column, and we know that we should have 15 different tallies to represent each of our soccer players. Because we had 15 observations, we should have counted them all and put every observation into a bucket, and if we have, this total here will equal to 15. So we just count that now. So 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 2 is 15, and we have, so it totals 15. So we know that we've got all our data correctly into our buckets. Next thing we've been asked to do is to show the cumulative frequencies as fractions. So first thing we've done is arrange the data into a frequency table, and now we want to show the cumulative frequencies as fractions. So that's what we have this cumulative frequency column here for. So to do this, what we do is we take our frequency and we divide it by the total number of observations which we had. So we want it in fraction form. So we would have 3 divided by our 15. And this would represent the fraction for the first cumulative frequency bucket. This is here. Oops. So this is for this bucket here. Because we have cumulative frequencies, for our next bucket, we'll be taking all of these. So we want to accumulate all of the frequencies down to the end of the bucket. So to work out this next one, we would have 3 plus our 6. So our first bucket plus our second bucket, which is here, all divided by the total number of goals we had scored. So it's our first bucket plus our second bucket divided by our total number of goals. And that gives us our cumulative frequency for the second. For our third, which is we want to accumulate the results down to the end of this third, the way we'd express this in fraction form is we'd have our 3 for our first bucket plus our 6 for our second bucket, which you can just see is the same as what we had before, and then we'll just add on the most recent bucket, which is this next 3. So we'll have this first bucket plus this second bucket plus this third bucket, and we'll divide that by our total. So we'll divide that by a total of 15, and that gives us our cumulative frequency in fraction form. So for our next bucket, we do the exact same thing again, but we want to accumulate down to this end of this fourth bucket. So the way we do that is we take our first bucket, we add to that our second bucket, which is 6 in red, we add our third bucket, which is there in green, there, and then we add our fourth bucket, which is here in this purple. So we add all of those together, and we just divide it by our total, which is 15. And then for our fifth bucket, we just do the exact same thing again, except this time we want to accumulate down to the bottom of the fifth. So the way we do that is we take our first bucket, sorry. So we take our first bucket of 3, which is in yellow, we add to it our second bucket of 3, which is in red, we add to it our third bucket of 3, which is in green, we then add our fourth bucket of 1, which is in purple, and then we add our fifth bucket, which is in blue, of 2, and we divide it by our total of 15. So that's how we calculate cumulative frequency. As you can see, every time I'm just adding on the next bucket and accumulating the frequencies. So then if we want to just simplify these fractions down, we can do that quite easily. So we go through 3 on 15, we'll leave that as, say, 3 on 15 for now, we won't simplify that any further. If we go to our next bucket, we have 3 plus 6 on 15, so that's 9 on 15. For our next bucket, we've got 3 plus 6 plus 3, which is equal to 12 on 15. And for our next bucket, we've got 3 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1, which is equal to 13 on 15. And for our next, we have 3 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 on 15, which is equal to 15 divided by 15. And when we get to our last bucket, we need to have all of our observations counted. So 15 divided by 15 is equal to 1, and that means that we've counted all our observations. So that's how you go about arranging a frequency table and working out your cumulative frequency. I hope that's of some value to you guys, and thanks for joining me.